Hey everybody, Ben here, and we've got a very cool Kickstarter preview for you today. So Hera's army is up on Kickstarter at the moment. It is a Greek mythology themed Amazon team by Hera Stone, and Hera Stone have been kind enough to let us have access to a few preview STLs. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the Kickstarter, have a look at those STLs, and then have a look at them printed off. Okay, so first things first, let's have a look at the Kickstarter page. So this project is live now, and as I'm filming it, we've got 10 days to go. So it will be closing on May 12th, which is my birthday. So if you're listening to this, you would have already heard about this on the podcast. We would have shown it off already. But if you're watching this video now, hopefully you've got plenty of time to get on there and back it. So this is a team from Hera Stone, Kiara. And Hera has worked with cross lances before, so the sculpting style and the sculpting quality definitely relates really well to a bit of an industry standard at the moment. So what Hera Stone have done here is produce a fantasy football team which works beautifully as a proxy for Amazons. Now, let's have a look. So we've got a bunch of different sculpts and a bunch of different players here. So they've gone to all the detail of naming each one of the linemen to really go for that Greek mythology vibe. We've got Calliope, we've got Urania, and it's really beautiful. So each one of these lineman sculpts is very different. You've got Cleo, you've got, I'm not even going to pronounce some of these names because I won't be able to, but you've got the different angles here. You've got the music, you've got the lyres, you've got the dancing. It's just a really elegantly sculpted team. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different line women there, which is really important for a team like Amazon where you're going to have a lot of line women. And then you've got the blitzers. So it looks like what we've got is 2 different blitzer sculpts, and you know what, you can twin them, you can flip them, and you're going to have your full lineup of 4 blitzers to fill your Amazon team. I love the vibe of the blitzers. This is what drew me to the team immediately. That kind of Wonder Woman vibe, that kind of Jason and the Argonauts Greek theme was I just loved it to bits, and I thought it was awesome. And another cool thing they've gone here with direction of design is to give the catcher the iris mold. Okay, messenger of the gods, she can fly so she can catch the ball. So we've got 2 catcher models here with wings, which is a really unique design and is absolutely going to convey that angelic mythological vibe that I thought was really, really nice. We don't see a bunch of armor, we don't see a bunch of spikes and grime. We see an angelic messenger of the god to be the catcher. Now I'm hoping that when Amazons get done, they get human catchers instead of Amazon catchers, because Amazon catchers aren't all that brilliant, but the models are lovely. And we got the throwers. I like this. We didn't get our hands on sculpt for the thrower, but the thrower there to be Artemis with the bow, it just works really, really well. So that's the core fundamentals of the team, but this Kickstarter has got a ton of extra stuff that's really, really cool. First of all, it's an RP, the Harpy, the big guy, and this is a big gal. It's a really lovely model. You've got the wings, you've got the claws, you've got the weird feet of a bird. It just works brilliantly, and they've got a Medusa there to be your Morgan Thorg, which I think is brilliant. You've got the cheerleader model, we've got that, we've printed it off. You've got a coach add-on there, you've got the referee, and you've got some other really, really lovely sculpts. And this is something that I had missed, to be honest, when I looked at this, when I saw this, when I backed it. It comes with a stadium as well. So if you're thinking, I've got loads of resin and nothing to do with it, actually, to be fair, you can print a stadium. You shouldn't print a stadium in resin, but you can do. But if you've got a plastic printer, it'll be even better. But look at, I love the Colosseum vibe here. Those pillars, it just works really, really nicely. And you've got a dice tower in there as well. And there's some stretch goals, as there always is. So actually, I was really impressed with the Kickstarter. I went with the early bird because I backed it immediately, which was £16. But the whole team can be backed for €21. So £18 for the miniatures and the stadium. That is an absolute bargain. And you can even get the rights to it all for £27 as well. Now, Hera Stone have been so kind as to share some of the sculpts with us. So we're going to have a look at the sculpts and then have a look at the prints. Okay, so the first STL we're going to look at is one of my favourite in this Kickstarter, which is the Blitzer model, or at least the kicking Blitzer. So if we have a bit of a zoom in, you can see the level of detail on this sculpt. So they come pre-supported. As to whether they also come unsupported, I don't know, but I can tell you that they have been supported beautifully. I had no fails, and they came off like just pulling a spider web. It was gorgeously, really well done, which, you know, can get you, but look at the level of detail of this model. So I'm going to say this a million times, I imagine, as we go through today. The detail on the faces here have been so nicely done. But as you zoom out and have a look through the model, you've got all that beautiful artwork on the armor, you've got it on the greaves, the filigree, the bits of detail that they've gone to as well, with the leaves just tucked in there. I don't know if my printer picked up all that detail actually, because it is so really, really nicely done. But you've got that beautiful follow through with the quality of the hair, the horse hair on the helmet, and this shield. So the shields are done so awesomely, and all of that detail there with the Medusa face. Now, having the support coming out of the nose might be a bit of a problem once it's printed and painted. It is certainly not something I noticed on the model, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I'm sure we could convince Hera to provide the unsupported models as well. In fact, there are Chitu box versions where I believe you can just go and move your supports as you like. Now, this was really nicely done. So that was one of the Blitzers. And what else do we have? Let's go with one of the catchers next. Let's just chuck it on the file. Here we go. And we'll get rid of the Blitzer. And we'll zoom in on the catcher sculpt now. So we've got one of the catchers as well. And this, like we've just seen, it's got the wings of Iris. And it's a really elegant sculpt. Again, beautiful work on the feathers, and the supporting work has been done really, really nicely. Let's see if we can get a good view of the supports here. And it just came off beautifully. So not a huge amount of Blood Bowl detail on the catchers, but you don't need them. They've got that wing, so they stand out as a positional, which I thought was really, really cool and really well done. And finally, we'll have a look at the RP before we move on to have a look at the actual prints themselves. Let's get rid of the catcher and move up the RP. And she is beautiful and terrifying. And again, the work on the face here is just top notch. I know that when that's painted, that scream is going to come across without much effort, and that's another really good thing about these models, is because the curves and the flow there have been done really, really well on all aspects, whether it's body, face, clothes or feathers. These models are going to paint up in about 7 minutes with like quick paint or contrast or something, because they've got that detail integral to it. They're going to paint up really beautifully. And then for those of you who can actually paint, not just like me, cover everything with Agrax, they are going to give you so much opportunity to work with light colors or dark colors and just really flex on what you can do, because you've got all these scales. It's not really scales, I don't know what you call them, but the feathers and the chunky bits on the feet are just going to give you a really, really nice canvas to paint on. But anyway, let's have a look at the 3D prints. Okay, so let's have a look at some of our printed models. So we're going to start with the cheerleader here. Now, the reason we got the cheerleader model is because it was one of the ones that was included in the sample pack, but it gave us a good gauge of the scale for the model. So you can see the sculpt has come out beautifully, the print has come out beautifully, all the curves, all the wavy hairs, just the detail's been really, really nicely transitioned. These have all been printed on my Mars 2 Pro with standard resin and standard settings. I find it's a really good kind of gauge for you guys to tell, because if you want to hone your machine in, your results will be better. If you want to get a better machine, your results will be better. But the Mars 2 Pro here does a beautiful job. Now, on supports, these have been beautifully supported. Really light supports. They came off, it was like blowing a spider web into the wind. However, because I didn't use the hot water trick, and I was a bit eager with the supports because it was kind of a test piece. I was like, oh, how are the supports? You've got these little bits kind of stuck in there that will take a little bit of filing down. If you're a little bit more careful than I was, you use the hot water trick, you will have no problem. But the supports were so light and so beautiful, I was incredibly impressed. So that was the cheerleader. I was super excited to get my hands on one of the Blitzer models. I love this. This for me is the top piece, or it's the top piece on the team if you're running Amazons, but too many perhaps. But the sculpts were gorgeous. This has got this proper like Spartan It's proper like ancient Greece Wonder Woman vibe, and I thought it was really, really, really cool. And you can see all the detail that we saw on the STLs has transferred over. The detail on the greaves, the detail on the shield there with the Medusa head, and you can even see the horse hairs. Now, these are grey resin, so the detail is a little bit hard to get on camera, but it has been beautifully represented, and the faces for every single one of these models are really, really superb. So a lot of detail there. Now, I haven't cleaned this model as well as I could. As you can see, there's a bit of IPA debris in there, but that's on me. A little bit of a dry brush before I paint the model, prime the model, and it'll be fine. And again, there's a few legacy bits of supports there, but that's on me for not cleaning up the models because I was too excited to show them off. So that is a print of a Blitzer. Blitzers are strength 3, as is nobility throwers. So this is Fitzmagic from the Marienburg Minotaurs team. If you line them up, they are about the same height. If you look at them from a mass point of view, the Amazon player has got less mass, but the proportions work. This is not a tall and skinny team. This is a realistic team with realistic proportions. And actually, if you look at the mass, it is less, but they do not look outclassed on the Blood Bowl pitch. This does not look of a smaller scale. This has been done beautifully and, you know, lined up with the Games Workshop models really, really well, but to an extent of just kind of better sculpting and more realistic proportions. So you do not need to play with the sizes for these. 100% is going to get you bang on where you want a human team to be. So really liked that. So we've seen the Blitzer, we've seen the cheerleader. Now it's time to look at one of the catchers. Now, it's me, so obviously I did one at 110% and I did one at 100%. Same model, same supports, which can be risky, and I thought, well, I'll try it out because these are really light supports. Worked a treat. So at 100% scale, you can see that our catcher model, the Iris catcher, you can see all the detail that has been printed off here. Wonderful work on the face, excellent work with the wings, and actually the bunching of the fabric is really elegant, and I think elegant is probably the way I'd describe this entire team. So the catchers have got wings to definitely identify them, and it just works. Okay, the whole theme here is Greek gods, Greek mythology, and it's beautiful. More great work there with the wings, with the hairs, a lot of just really smooth sculpts. Now, this is supposed to be representing a catcher, but I can see this being used as statues because it's got that classic effect to it. Especially in kind of like a small scale game. So if you're 15mm player, if you're an 8mm player for Adeptus Titanicus, printing a few of these off as statues would look amazing in your games, let alone being able to use them on the Blood Bowl pitch. And again, we'll do the ubiquitous strength 3 model check off. There you go. The height's right, the build is slighter, but it should be because that's the vibe we're going for here. But actually, they're chunky enough that you're not going to have any problems, and they don't look ridiculous on the Blood Bowl pitch. They look proper. They look like just really well sculpted models, which is exactly what they are. And the last one we're going to show off now is the big girl, the big gal. This is a harpy, and this is a strength 5 big guy harpy. Again, you got more beautiful feather work. The claws are awesome. I mean, I'm getting just a terrifying bird aesthetic there. Which is exactly what they were going for, and it works. The details on the faces of these models are difficult to show off with grey resin, but they are really nice, and they are going to paint up so well. Let's have a look at size. So against a strength 3 human, head, chest and shoulders bigger than Fitzmagic there, which is definitely going to solidify the model as a strength 5 piece. If we do the base test, 30mm base, yep, just about going to fit in the cylinder. The position of the arms means that actually it'll be well contained, and the height of the wings and the positioning of the wings there, where it's kind of taller, is going to work really well for the model. Now, let's grab a Dungeon Bowl Ogre to check out size 5 against size 5. Yeah, maybe half a head taller than the Ogre. Definitely the Ogre's got more mass, but this is, like I said, a more elegant team. So this works beautifully as a big strength 5 big guy. And the cool thing about this team is you've got a bunch of different positionals. You've got the big guy. Big guy can be used on any team. Like, this would be an absolute brilliant proxy for a Yeti if you've got like an Amazon team and you want to add a Yeti to it. Now, if you've got an Amazon team and you want to add a Yeti to it so that you can use them as a Norse team, there's just a lot of flexibility, and I love the inclusion of this model. And there you have it. So we've had a look at the team, we've had a look at the STLs, we've had a look at the Kickstarter. I really liked this. This is something that's very different, and Amazon's are a really popular team. Their skill set's really unique, and the way they operate is as well. So to have a team like this that, quite frankly, at this budget price has got quality that it has no right having when it comes to sculpt and prep. £18 for a team and a stadium is just phenomenal. So if you have a 3D printer or a friend with a 3D printer, this is a bit of a no-brainer. There's going to be models in here that you can use for anything, even if you don't want to use it as a whole team, and you're going to have access to all the pieces for a stadium. This is by far and large the best value STL Kickstarter I have ever seen, and the quality of the models does not disappoint. I cannot wait to see what more we get from Hera, because this has been executed really, really nicely. The detail on the faces are beautifully done. The proportions make them look like humans, which is great. The scale is perfect. And the big guy, well, it's just, I love big guys, don't I? And big guys with wings and claws, terrifying. Absolutely superb. So again, a big thank you to Hera for having us have a look at these models, and I'm so excited about them. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy printing. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.